Who's ready for a new meta? It's Ultra League Premier Classic, which is just like regular Ultra League, except you can't use legendary and mythical Pokemon, and you can't use anything that has been powered up with XL Candy. So, as you can see at the top of that list there is a new kid on the block, a new player in town that is centralizing the whole meta, and that is Walrein. So, a lot of people are going to be bringing Walrein, and you have to work out how are you going to counter the Walrein. And obviously, the best, easiest counter to Walrein is counter. Or anything with fighting type moves. So let's go fighting. And up the top of this list, you've got Escavalier, which I think is going to be very, very good in this meta, because the only thing it really fears is your fire types, maybe some ghosts as well. But the fire types are just not going to be as prominent in this Premier Classic meta as they are in your Open Ultra League. So I think it's going to have a lot of play. Surfetched and Machamp, we all know what they do in Ultra League. Blaziken seeing a moment in the spotlight. Snorlax with Superpower will do quite a fair bit of damage to the Walrein. I'm going to skip Hariyama. Heracross is a counter user that beats other counter users because of its resistances, which is very handy. Obstagoon will lose to other fighters, but it has its own benefits, which I will touch on later. And Poliwrath I really like because that Dynamic Punch threatens your ices, your steels, and it beats other waters as well. It's a water that beats other waters. So quite handy. Now, there is another way to counter the Walrein, and that is with your electric types. Now, the reason I like electric is that I think due to the prominence of fighters, a lot of people are going to handle that with flyers. So things like Crobat, things like Gyarados, Togekiss, stuff like that. And so the electric types can beat your waters, including Walrein, as well as beating those flyers. So things like Electivire, Luxray, which is basically like Magnezone without the skill typing, Alolan Golem, and Ampharos as well, which I think is a little better than what that ranking suggests. The one I'm looking at is Magnezone, because not only does it beat the flying and water core, I guess, but it also beats Charm, which is the other way that people will look to beat the counter users. So a lot of those, all of those electric types can do super effective damage to Togekiss because it is flying type, but Magnezone will resist the charm from that, also from Sylveon, which is the other big charmer, and it can just rely on Spark and Mirror Shot to do super effective damage back and overcome those matchups. Of course, the downside of Magnezone is that it will take very heavy damage from fighters, but if you use it as a closer in the late game, you've got some energy, or you've got, everyone's down shields, it can close out those battles just fine, because, a lot of those fighters just won't be able to survive a wild charge. Now, the one spanner in the works to the electric type threat is the Swampert, which is the water type that can beat all the electric types with its ground typing. It is very highly ranked, but I actually don't think it's going to be huge. It's going to be big, but it's not going to be as big as what that ranking suggests, because it loses to the Walrein. There's, like I said before, there's nowhere near as many fire types that are going to be around, and not only does it have to worry about the Venusaur, which it always does in regular Ultra League, but there is another big grass type that is going to be popular, and that is Trevenant. Trevenant is a fantastic fighting counter, except for Obstagoon, and that's where Obstagoon comes in handy, because it beats the ghosts quite comfortably. But Trevenant has some very interesting matchups. It beats the waters as well, got to mention that. But it has very interesting matchups with Walrein. It will generally lose, but in the right situations, which I'm not going to have time to get into here, so maybe I'll do another video later on about it, it can flip those matchups. So it's a good Pokemon for like counterplay. You do need other counters to Walrein if you're going to bring it, but it's got play. The other things are Nidoqueen and Venusaur, which they'll both beat your fighters and electrics. Your Nidoqueen will lose to water, Venusaur will beat it. Venusaur will lose to flyers. Nidoqueen generally beats the flyers. Crobat's a bit iffy, but yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the basics of the meta. You can go with just those things, or you can kind of expand and look outwards from that. Let us know in the comments what you're running, and good luck in your ULPC battles.